everyone! Would you like to improve your vocabulary and learn how to talk about natural disasters in English? Welcome to Jen's Jyugyou. My name is Jen, and today I'm going to teach you useful vocabulary related to natural disasters. Vocabulary that you can use to sound more like a native speaker in English and get higher scores on tests like IELTS. A natural disaster is a catastrophic event which is caused by the natural processes in nature, the natural processes of the earth. It is not man-made, but it has a huge effect on people and causes great damage, destruction, and even loss of life. Today, we're going to talk about 9 different types of natural disasters, along with other useful vocabulary that you can use to discuss these natural disasters in English. The first disaster I want to take a look at is a wildfire. Wildfires are often referred to as forest fires or bush fires. These are uncontrollable fires that start in places where there's lots of vegetation, such as grass or forests. You might remember a couple years ago there were huge forest fires all over different parts of Australia. Forest fires can occur naturally and can happen as a result of things such as a lightning strike or combustion due to hot, dry temperatures. The result is that the forest or the bush will start burning out of control and the fire is unable to be stopped. There is a place in Canada called Fort McMurray which often has difficulties with wildfires. However, recently Fort McMurray was in the news because they were suffering damages caused by a flood. Our second type of natural disaster for today's lesson is a flood. A flood is when water covers parts of the Earth's surface that are not usually covered or submerged in water. And this can happen as a result of rivers overflowing their banks, which can happen if snow melts too rapidly. It can also happen if there's too much rain or things that have happened such as thunderstorms or hurricanes or tsunamis, which we'll talk about later. Floods can be very serious because they cause lots of damage and people could drown in a flood. To drown means that you have too much water on top of you and you can't breathe, so you end up breathing in water and dying as a result of water. The third natural disaster is a drought. A drought is when there is no rain for a long period of time, for months or for years. There is no precipitation. Precipitation means rain or snow or other moisture falling from the ground. So there is a lack of water, and as a result, the ground becomes very dry and causes difficulties producing agriculture, which means that farmers cannot create enough food, which then means that people go hungry and start to starve. They are starving due to a lack of food. This is called a famine in English. So famines are the main problem that occurs as a result of a drought. The fourth disaster for today is an earthquake. Quake is a verb in English which means to shake something. So an earthquake is basically when the earth starts shaking. And the shaking is caused because underneath the earth's surface there are things called tectonic plates. And when these plates move, which happens naturally, when they move, it causes the earth to begin shaking a lot. The place where the plates shift is where the most damage from the earthquake is caused, and then going out from that point, there's lesser damage. That main point where the incident has occurred is called the epicenter. We can measure the strength of earthquakes, and when we do this, we are looking to measure the magnitude of the earthquake. Magnitude means how strong was that shaking. The way we measure the magnitude of earthquakes is with something called the Richter scale. If there is an earthquake which is only around 3 or less on the Richter scale, it probably will not cause any damage and will probably not be seen as a disaster. However, an earthquake that is above 7, 7.8, 8, 9, and so on, those types of earthquakes are the ones that cause the greatest disaster. Entire cities, buildings, everything just completely destroyed by the shaking of the earth. Sometimes these shakes are also referred to as tremors. The earth is trembling and you are experiencing some tremors. After the earthquake has finished, you might still experience a little bit of shaking, maybe hours or days later. This shaking after the earthquake has occurred is called aftershocks. So once a large earthquake has occurred, it is common to experience aftershocks later. Natural disaster number 5 is a tsunami. A tsunami often occurs as a result of an earthquake. The word tsunami actually comes from 2 Japanese words which mean harbor and wave. And this can help you to imagine what a tsunami is. It is a giant wave or series of waves that are coming up over the harbor and onto the land. Tsunamis happen along the coast, usually close to where there is an ocean. And the waves can often be caused as a result of the tectonic plates shifting and creating this extra force with the waves. Back in 2011, in March, when I was teaching English in Japan, there was a really large earthquake, you might remember, that then also caused a huge tsunami and caused massive destruction in Japan. Our next natural disaster, number 6, is a hurricane. A hurricane might also be known as a cyclone or a typhoon. These 3 different words, hurricane, cyclone, typhoon, are used in different areas of the world where a similar natural disaster happens. However, all 3 of these take place connected to coastal areas, areas that are close to bodies of water such as the ocean or the sea. A hurricane is a giant spiraling tropical storm with very, very fast wind. And with these very fast spiraling, spinning winds also comes a lot of rain. So in addition to the strong winds and heavy rain, this spinning of the cyclone causes a lot of damage. Specifically in the hurricane, in the very center, there is an area like this where the most damage is caused as it's spinning. And in the very, very center of that area where the winds are the strongest is an area where everything is completely calm, abnormally calm in the middle of the hurricane. This exact center point where things are randomly calm in the storm is called the eye of the storm. The eye is safe and then suddenly it's going to become much worse again. Natural disaster number 7 is similar to a hurricane, but slightly different. It is a tornado. Hurricanes usually occur in coastal areas, whereas tornadoes usually occur just in land. A tornado is also a spiraling, spinning, funnel-like cloud that comes along and just wipes things out with its massive winds. A tornado, you can clearly see in the sky that it's connected to a thundercloud and to the Earth's surface. You can directly see this connection as the winds are spinning. Another word for tornado is actually a twister, because the wind is literally twisting everything like this. And as the fast winds are twisting, they're also picking up debris and ripping up houses off the ground and things like that as they go along. There have been many disaster movies made about tornadoes, and even one featured in the plot of one of my favorite movies, The Wizard of Oz. Natural disaster number 8 is a volcanic eruption. So when you have a volcano and the gases and heat inside the volcano suddenly explode, this is called an eruption in English. So a volcanic eruption. A volcano will erupt. And this can cause great damage because of 3 different elements that are coming out of the volcano as it erupts. One thing is deadly gases. Another thing is the lava. Lava is the hot, molten, like liquid rock that's coming from the magma in the earth. And the third thing is the ashes that are coming out of the volcano. The ashes and the smoke can cause lots of damage. Ash is when you're burning something, the black or gray, white little particles of dust that are created as a result of something burning. Natural disaster number 9, I am putting 2 different natural disasters together because they are very similar. So the 2 things that I'm putting into the same category is an avalanche and a landslide. So an avalanche, which is also known as a snowslide, is what happens oftentimes in the mountains when pieces of snow start melting and breaking away, and then they fall down the side of the mountain or down the side of a slope. And as the snow is falling, it becomes faster and gathers more and more snow and other debris along the way and can injure people who are in the area. Avalanches often cause lots of damage to people who are skiing or snowboarding or enjoying areas nearby the mountains. Whereas landslides, it's the same idea, only instead of snow melting and falling down, it's usually caused by erosion of the soil or by lots of rain that's happened, and land will actually fall down the slope. So a landslide can also be called a mudslide in some places, and literally just mud and water and dirt and other debris gets picked up along the way, gains speed, and just whoosh, can wipe out roads, can wipe out towns, and so on. So avalanches and landslides are expression number 9 for natural disasters. So today you learned about 9 different types of natural disasters, along with many useful vocabulary words that you can use to discuss this topic. And now it's time for question of the day. Today's question is, have you ever experienced a natural disaster? If so, let us know about it in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it useful, please subscribe to Jen's Jyugyou so you don't miss any English lessons. And give this video a thumbs up. Good luck with your English studies, everyone, and I'll see you in the next lesson.